Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back into r/Tales of Neckbeard because people seem to like the storytime format videos enough for me to do more. Plus also it's one of the few videos that YouTube actually still recommends of mine. So in case you guys would like to see more of this type of storytime format video, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below because that engagement is always a great motivator for me. If we can get this video to 2,000 likes, that would be absolutely amazing. Plus it gives me more reason to record some Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart gameplay. And if you have not already, subscribe and turn on those notifications. But without further ado, let's get into this. Our first story comes to us from username Undercover Elf Ida. My neckbeard ex tried to out my straight friend. I didn't think I would be posting anything with this account anymore, and I even toyed with the idea of deleting it. But as luck would have it, things don't always go my way. So I'm back with another story from my neckbeard ex, Jay. Quick context for people who haven't seen my other post: I dated a neckbeard. We moved in together. He was lazy. A few months back, he told me he wanted to roleplay as Legolas and Gimli in the bedroom. I let out a nervous laugh and then proceeded to ignore my existence and left me alone on Christmas. Needless to say, we broke up. Also, a little update. I said in my last post I'd left to stay with a friend whilst Jay got his stuff together and moved back in with his parents. Here's a little list of things I noticed when I got back home. My favorite vase had fallen over and smashed. Some items of jewelry were bent out of shape. The dishes he'd used hadn't been washed. They'd been piled up beside the sink. There were bits of food all over the floor. Some looked like it had been there for a while. Some tomato sauce had been spilled over my white rug. So yeah, I had to do a fair bit of cleaning when I got home. Back to the reason for this post. About a month ago, my friend David lost his job. The company he worked for had to let a bunch of people go, and he wasn't exactly on the best of terms with his landlord as it was. So David and his very sweet, very funny girlfriend Annie were more than welcome to stay with me until they found somewhere else to live, and it was all went fantastic. Until Jay found out. David was always one of the people that Jay would accuse me on cheating on him with. Now, David is really sweet, and I love him to pieces, but he is also very, very straight. Plus, we've been friends since we were tiny little gremlins. Neither of us would want to risk ruining that for some fling. Also, we were both very much dating other people. Anyways, Jay was apparently not a fan of David living with me. I genuinely don't even know how he found out, but he did, and that's when the threats started. Jay managed to track David down on Facebook. I'd block him on everything, and started sending horrible messages. He wasn't horrible straight away. He started off nice enough, telling David that he took some of my clothing by mistake, and that since he had no way of contacting me, he figured he'd sort it out through David. Seems harmless enough, right? None of my clothes were missing. I told David this, and he relayed the message to Jay, both of us believing it was a mistake, until Jay responded. He began asking to speak to me and tried to call a bunch of times, getting more and more angry when David kept declining the calls. He eventually moved on to more aggressive tactics. Jay began spouting the usual nonsense about how David and I had apparently had an affair whilst Jay and I were together, etc. He told us he had proof of messages showing us cheating and that he'd post them on Facebook if I didn't talk to him. Eventually, he just turned to hurling insults at David and I. When he began making threats of violence and vandalism, I asked David to block him, which he thankfully did. We didn't think much of it until a little while later when a mutual friend messaged me about a post Jay had made on Facebook. He had indeed posted screenshots of a conversation between David and I that got pretty explicit, obvious proof that Jay was right all along. Right? Wrong. Not only was it really blatantly obvious that Jay had made these up and essentially had a conversation with himself, but he had even gotten David's Facebook name wrong. See, we live in an area where nicknames are pretty common. I know guys called things like Chin, Nudge, Nasher, etc. The only reason I used David instead of a nickname was just to be a bit more anonymous. But point is, David goes by a nickname. Everyone calls him by this nickname. Even the teachers at school called him it. As such, that is his Facebook name instead of his real name. Jay, of course, course, decided to put David's real name. This made people immediately question just how real this proof actually was. Not to mention the fact it all seemed very fake. There's a small snippet of what we apparently texted each other. David, do you think he knows? Me, no, I've been pretty good at it. David, do you wish he knew about us? Me, I like things how they are. I get to play with you. You, whatever I like, but I still have a place to stay. Dude, are you living at my flat, not the other way around? David, you could stay with me. Me, would you buy me things? David, anything you want, baby. Me, so sweet. Now, doesn't that as just read like a bad fanfiction? Seriously, it just goes on like that for about 8 screenshots. Neither of us talk like that. I'm sorry, but if he was going to go to this length to make me look bad, then at the very least, try and make it convincing. Anyway, Jay had included in his rant on Facebook a whole paragraph outing David as a gay man. He explained that this was the reason David had never had a girlfriend, because Annie doesn't exist apparently. He even went as far as to tag David's aunt in the post. Thankfully, David's family is very open-minded and already knew it was BS, so it didn't cause any hassle, but seriously? What if David's family hadn't been accepting? That could have potentially ruined his relationship with his family. The post is still up. Jay refuses to take it down, only blocking people in the comments who bring up how fake the screenshots look. I had thought about unblocking him just to tell him to leave me and my friends alone, but I decided against it. In my opinion, he's looking for attention and I'm not going to give him what he wants. I've settled for just asking David and now Annie to block him on everything and pretending like he doesn't exist. He's not worth the hassle. I know this isn't as interesting as some of the other stories on this sub and it's a bit anticlimactic, but I really needed to vent. Jay's going to drive me mad, I swear. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's kind of one of the biggest dick moves you could ever do to anybody, is just outing them to their family. That's not cool in any way, shape, or form, and honestly, it just seems really, really petty. And even if they're not gay, like, just trying to stir up stuff with their family just because you get jealous or because of something that's not really involving you in any way, shape, or form anymore, that's not cool. Our next story comes from us from username 21blackguys. Neckbeard told my mom a lie about his uncle, my boss, physically and sexually abusing me and almost got him killed. This was originally an entitled people's, but I'm better to post things again, and by the way, the beard in question is in jail. RedX, love you. I actually posted one of my stories about this neckbeard in RedX subreddit. If you want more, just ask. But this particular story is about his actions more than him. Hi, I've been hesitating to post this. It's been sitting in my Google Docs for a while now, but my therapist thinks this will be good for me if I get it out. So here it is. And for those who read the story of my boss's nephew violating the restraining order, I'm going to post an update for that when everything is over. And for the people who were worried about my well-being, I'm here. I'm not okay, I'm scared, and I think I'm losing myself, but I'm here. So this is the story that pisses me off the most, because my boss's reputation got put on the line because of this nephew's lies. But first, this community is awesome. I appreciate the kind words. And second, I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here to tell the tale about Tommy and his equally sucky mother and how effed up they are. What happened to me sucks, but I'm to talk about this. No good, ugly, worthless piece of S, David Matthew Band looking mother F. If you want to feel sympathy for someone, feel sympathy for my boss. He almost died. I cut this up to make it shorter because the process was too long, and I'd rather S in my hand and clap than go through this all over again. English is bad, and I'm paraphrasing because I blocked most of this out. My boss was shaking down Twin 1 while I had Twin 2. They like to play a game that we call Hide the Cellular Devices. It is so annoying because the game is random and they will take anything that isn't hooked up by cords. This was going on for hours and they were not budging. Then my mom came in and out of nowhere willing a bat with my brother. They were out for blood. They were yelling Twin 2 was scared and I was confused. My mom screamed, "Where is that white devil?" I say things like, "What is wrong? Why do you have a bat?" My bro was trying to pull me away. My boss came out of the room and my mom charged at him. She hit his hand and I think a finger got broke or two. Twin 2 started hitting my mom and my bro picked up the little chihuahua. Twin 1 was scared and calm. I was protecting my boss from her and tried to wrestle the bat away. My mom was screaming, "Why are you protecting that R?" I was confused. My boss said, "What? I didn't R anyone." My mom told him to stop lying and tried to get past me. I got the bat from her and asked what the F was going on. My mom said, "I know what he did to you. I'm gonna kill him." I said, "Mary," not my mom's name, "what are you talking about?" My bro, while Twin 2 was squirming in his arms, said,
"We know that he was aiming you."
"Huh?" I was like, "The frick?" I told him I didn't understand. Then the chihuahua, I'm still talking about my boss's child by the way, got loose and tried to bite my mom, but with the quickness, my boss scooped him up and locked him in his room with Twin 1. I was trying to wrap my head around the situation, and then Mike came in from the backyard and asked what all of the hullabaloo was. I said I didn't know because I didn't. My bro and Mike were cool up to this point. My bro was like, "Ask your dad." Mike asked what he was talking about. My boss said something like, "They think I R'd Lee." Mike made the most confusing face. He looked at my family, who looked like they were ready to kill. He said, "Dad, what did you do?" My boss said that he didn't do anything. My mom did that face that an angry black mom can make, you know what I mean, and tried to get at him. I threatened her with a bat and told her to try me. She kept telling me to move, and I told her to calm down. She wanted to kill him, and I wouldn't allow that, because he signs my paychecks. I told my brother to calm down, Mom, and I tended to my boss. She kept trying to talk, and I kept telling her to calm, then I'll talk. I took my boss downstairs, and my family followed. I put ice on his hand and asked if he was okay. My boss said something like, "Your mother just broke my hand. B, what do you think?" The words B and other B, longer B, are the two words that my mom hates the most. So when he called me that, she tried to kill him again. We started yelling. I started crying because I was already having a bad day, pissed, overwhelmed, and the Pomeranian and the Chihuahua, the twins, stole my effing phone. Finally, my mom asked, "Did my boss touch me?" I said no because he didn't. This went back and forth for a while, her telling me to stop lying and me saying that I'm not. Then I said, "This is making me mad. Why the heck do you think that he R'd me?" They said that an inside source has contacted my mom and said that my boss had been forcing himself on me and hitting me. My boss, Mike, and I were shocked. The boss man and I looked at one another speechless. Mike asked who the heck said that, and my mom pulled out her phone. Then Mike looked at the phone and his face was shocked when he was reading the text, but his face turned to anger when he saw the name. He handed the phone to my boss. My boss read the text, and just like Mike, the anger on his face was real. Then it was my turn, and my God, Satan is real. I am not going to say what that MF sent my mom because it pisses me off, and it makes me physically sick. The bee's imagination is effing astounding. Just like them, I was shocked, but I became angry when I saw who sent the text. Tommy. I was telling them that this was not true and my boss did nothing to me, and that the person who sent this text is a liar, and they just like watching the world burn. My mom asked me to explain the videos and the pictures I looked at, and yep, there were some vids. The first video was me wrapped up in a blanket being held by my boss. I was crying and my boss was saying how sorry he was. The story that Tommy was saying is that my boss was begging for forgiveness after he hit me too hard. And the second one was me with my boss were screaming at one another. My boss was calling me an S and he slapped me. Apparently in that one, I tried to ask for help, and that's when the boss hit me. And the picture was me and him sleeping in the same bed, and the other one was me and him sitting on the couch. And I had a really bad black eye. I was pissed because that is not what happened. I told them the truth. In the first video, I had a bad high. I was crying and having a panic attack, and if that video went on for a bit longer, they would see that my boss was caring for me like he cares for his autistic son when he was having a meltdown. He wrapped me up into a blanket, sat me on his lap, made me laugh, and sang to me until I fell asleep. The other video was us mimicking this video. That's a link to something. Okay, picture was sus as heck, but if the picture was zoomed out, my boss's son could be seen knocked out, balled up like puppies at our feet, and the only reason why I was in his bed was because I was rubbing his back and I have a bad habit of falling asleep on the job. The second picture, I just got hit in the eye with a Nerf bullet for like the 5th time that day. I fawnt over those memories because I remember how safe I felt and how much I appreciate my boss, and I wasn't stressed out about something those specific days. If anyone was curious, that my boss was singing to me "Hello My Old Heart" by the Oh Hellos, "Through the Valley," "The Thief and the Moon" by Sean James, "The Moonlight" by X. They didn't believe me. I have proof, and Mike and his cousins were there, and they recorded my high. It was clearly the same day, and I am clearly baked out of my mind. I showed them the "Jessica, did you sleep with your teacher" video, and the last part of it mashed up with the video that Tommy sent to my mom. And Mike showed them the zoomed out version of it because he took the photo and sent it to the group chat. What the title, "These N-Words Are Gay," I reminded my mom that I told her back about the black eye and that she's seen it. Then they asked why didn't I answer my phone when she called me. I said the twins took all of the phones and we can't find them. Mike asked why he couldn't find his tablet. Then he yelled up the stairs, "Hey, Chihuahua and Pomeranian, give us back our S," or something like that. The twins came out of the room and went outside and came back with a duffel bag full of electronics. I put my battery back in my phone, and when it booted up, I got so many missed calls and many text messages. My bro asked the big question, why? We just gave different variations of "Tommy's an a-hole." My boss wasn't going to let this slide. He called Ember and asked where Tommy was. She said he was with his dad. He told her to get her butt to this house, and he hung up. My boss called his ex-brother-in-law and asked where Tommy was. As soon as my boss said those words, I heard the boss man's ex-brother-in-law scream, "Tommy, what the heck did you do?" No one asked for Tommy, how much his family hate him. So when Ember arrived, she asked what happened to my boss's hand, and he just said, "Wait until Tommy gets here." So then Tommy, my brother, Oz, X's bae, Ella, his sister, and Trevor, the dad, Ember's ex-husband, arrived. They were confused because my family don't really come around. They all sat down, and then S got real. My boss showed him his hand and said, "Guess what happened?" They were concerned, and then my boss said with the biggest smile, "Tell them what you did, Tommy." They all looked over at Tommy confused as F, and then they panicked because they know Tommy did something really bad this time. Tommy acted like he did nothing with that dang smile. Then that was my mom and brother's time to jump in. They showed the text and starts telling him that he's effed up in the head for saying this, and that they almost killed my boss. They all were yelling at Tommy. His mom was defending, saying S like, "This must be a misunderstanding," and "My son wouldn't do something like this," and Tommy was saying that the whole thing was a joke, and he just kept smiling like the little psychopath he is. He didn't think my mother would get that pissed like she did. Tommy liked to see what he could get away with. He loves to see how far he can get across the line until someone pulls him back. He was a liar since the day he could speak and tell you secrets. They warned me about him because I was Tommy's first friend because he had no friends. I wondered why. Some other as Tommy's done, he made a lie about catching his brother sniffing his mother's underwear, and Oz got sent to therapy. When they found out Tommy was lying, he was like, "Oh, I just wanted to see everyone's reaction." Grandma still doesn't see Oz the same. He told Mike's mom that he was bi. He told my boss's ex-wife that her nephew, Connor, was gay, and that he was sleeping with his cousin, Philip. They are related by marriage, not blood, and that got back to Connor's dad, and that's a whole story. He made a lie about Connor being abused by Philip, and this lie was believed by the church because Connor is tiny and didn't have a voice back then. He has one now, and what Philip says goes, and it didn't help that Philip looks terrifying. The actual reality was, Philip protected Connor from bullies, and Philip treated Connor like a security blanket. They are married now, and I hate their Pomeranian. Back to the story. So everyone is yelling as Tommy, his mom was defending him, and then Tommy said, "It was just a joke, take a chill pill." Everyone in unison just screamed, "R is not a joke, Tommy." And then he said something like, "What's the big deal? It's not like she's me, it's been R before." Oh, Tommy, you fool. I said I have been. Luckily, you have siblings that wouldn't hurt you like mine did, but you treat them like S. When I was done, y'all want to know what he said? If I knew that I wouldn't have done this. I saw a lovely shade of crimson. I shrieked at him, saying that he shouldn't have done it in the first place, and how he was pathetic, annoying, and everyone hates him. And I finished it all off with a crawl back to the bucket you slithered out of, you late-term abortion. I left the house, because if I stayed, I would have killed his fat butt neckbeard. While I was gone, my boss asked Tommy why. So why did Tommy do this? Because back in 2018, Tommy confessed his love for me. He was 16, and me being the big people pleaser that I am, to the point where I would die then say I am uncomfortable, I almost said yes just to make him happy. But luckily my boss was there, and he knows that I am uncomfortable, and he knows that I will please someone even if it would make me sick. So my boss told me in front of Tommy that I don't have to accept his feelings if I didn't want to. Since then, Tommy had been out for my boss, his own fudging uncle. Well, this started an argument so loud that I heard it from outside. Sometime later, Grandma and Grandpa showed up with the middle of the youngest child and Philip. I gave them the abridged version of what was going on, and as soon as I said that, Tommy came flying out of the house like Jazz from the Fresh Prince. Oz started swinging on his little brother. I think Tommy said something about me, I don't remember. Philip tackled Oz to the ground. The roles would be reversed at Grandpa's funeral. Grandpa reprimanded all of them, even hit some of them with his cane. You gotta love old Dutch grandpas. To make a long story short, my boss got his hand fixed and didn't sue my mom, cause he said he will do the same thing for his child. He wanted to sue Tommy for defamation, but Grandma talked him out of it. About the last time I have ever spoken or seen Tommy until Grandpa's funeral, because of quarantine, and they got kicked out of my boss's property, and until he decided to show up on my porch. All of that just because he got turned down from liking this person. Like, this is nuts. Seriously, there needs to be some type of fine associated with this type of stuff, because that's insane. And the fact that it's not only the first time the dude's done it, but he's done like a streak of doing stuff like this for a long time is just ridiculous. But with that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like these storytime format ones in the future, be sure to hit that like button, help the video get to 2,000 likes, start up a wholesome internet discussion, make a new friend in the comments section, and if you have not already, subscribe and turn on those notifications. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.